ESPN studios in Los Angeles, here's Chris Myers.
Hi, welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us. In a moment, UCLA's Jim Harrick will be here to discuss the slow start for the defending champions. There's already a new #1. Here's a look up close at some things you know and some things you don't know about college basketball this year. We know that the bulk of NCAA stars have gone on to the NBA. We don't know if they'll be forgotten by the time Tim Duncan at Wake Forest and Marcus Camby at UMass wind up play in March. We know about UConn's Ray Allen, explosive in the fast break game, and about last year's Big East Player of the Year, Villanova's versatile Kerry Kittles. But what you may not know is that Lorenzen Wright of Memphis, Eric Dampier of Mississippi State, and Samaki Walker of Louisville may not wait for next year to be center stage. We do know that Jim Calhoun's Huskies are Final Four material. We don't know if they'll put an end to their streak of 18 NCAA tournaments without reaching the Final Four. We know that the Big East is regarded as this year's top conference. We don't know if they'll be able to return to their heyday in 1985 when 3 Big East teams played in the Final Four. We know that Kansas is said to have the best backcourt with Jacques Vaughn and Jarrett Haas. We aren't so sure, though, that Allen Iverson at Georgetown isn't the best backcourt player. We know that the Kentucky Wildcats are the most talent-loaded team with 3 blue-chip recruits. We don't know if it's too much talent to satisfy the playing time that Rick Pitino can give them. We do know that Duke's Mike Krzyzewski, the best coach in the country, is back courtside. We don't know how often he'll hold the ball at halftime and tell his players to wrestle it away from him. And Bobby Knight, we just don't know. And we know the defending champion Bruins did a rapid nosedive in the polls, going from a #4 ranking out of the top 25. We just don't know why. When Up Close continues, Jim Harrick will give us some answers and tell us if another NCAA title for UCLA is realistic.
Up Close is brought to you by Ace Hardware, the place with the helpful hardware folks.
When you go up to Seattle, you find out that Magnolia Ace Hardware makes new ideas a family affair. And your local Ace will give you plenty of ideas on how to save throughout the holidays. It's true. Ace is the place with the helpful hardware folks.
This holiday season, don't let a fortune pass you by. It's the Discover Card Big Payback. Just use your card for your chance to win one of 8 $250,000 prizes. It pays to discover. The card with the big payback.
$6.
Harry.
Yeah?
How come you're charging me for the hot dogs?
The 52-inch Magnavox big screen TV with smart screen and a picture so good you can charge for the hot dogs. Smart. Very smart. Now get a pair of wireless speakers free when you purchase a Magnavox big screen TV.
Sir, they're in the shapes of little portals. And when you walk, they bark.
Shopping for the holidays? We have 2 gigabytes, 16 megs of RAM.
We have a suggestion to help you through it.
It's a virtual reality mask. Look out, we're being invaded by spacemen.
Come to Wendy's for a delicious Monterey Ranch chicken sandwich. It's a whole breast filet, Monterey Jack, and a dollop of creamy ranch dressing blended with bacon.
That way everyone gets something they love for the holidays.
Come to Wendy's for a Monterey Ranch chicken sandwich today.
Uh-oh, I still have to get gifts for Uncle Bob.
The holidays, it's a wonderful time to lose your mind and go broke. But holiday shopping is easy at Office Max. Hey, it's the office products and Christmas gifts superstore. There's loads of great stuff, including quality brand names like Curtis or Mouse Systems at guaranteed low prices that will make you quite, joyous. So, shop at Office Max this holiday and save time, money, and very possibly your sanity. Office Max, we go to the max for you.
Welcome back to the show. Thanks for staying with us. We welcome Jim Harrick, head coach at UCLA, his 8th year running the show with the Bruins after the championship season. Good to have you back on the program, Jim. It's good to see you again.
Chris, nice to be here. Thank you.
You've been here with us when you've been on top of the world, #1, and you've been on the program when you've been under fire. With the start that the Bruins have had this year, a little bit under fire, how do you view things at this moment?
Well, 2 ways. Certainly, I thought we had a lot of adulation from last year and probably started started the season not in the right frame of mind, thinking it's going to be too easy. We're UCLA, we're going to win it again, and went over to Hawaii and got humbled. And most of that was my fault. We went over there in the wrong frame of mind, but it was difficult. The adulation they received, the players, all summer long, people patting them on the back. And then Cameron Dollar got hurt, and he's been playing with like 2 boxing gloves on his hands, and that's been my fault. I've played him, and I need to get him well and healthy and before we can continue and get prepared for our conference.
Yeah, and a point guard offense, obviously that figures his health. But when you say it's your fault, what can you do to change the mindset so that they don't think they're the champions?
After winning the national championship, I don't know that I'm good enough to change them. They had their own mindset. They were really into a lot of, and it goes back to what Coach Wooden always told me, you know, as a player or a coach, you listen to too much criticism, it will hurt your performance. You listen to too much praise, it will hurt your performance. So obviously I thought maybe our players listened to too much praise, but they're young people. And but we're out of that now, and I think our focus is back, and we've been humbled. Our focus is back, and now we've got to get in a stretch here. And I always was concerned about the preseason and our record and our rankings. Right. And then this year, we're going to really concentrate on getting our team prepared for the conference season. Hopefully, we can be a real good team by then. Yeah,
you start out 4th in the country. You're out of the top 25 in a hurry. Was that ranking inaccurate to be rated number 4 coming in? Oh, I think a little high, yeah. I was thinking maybe 10 to 20 somewhere. We've been in every game. In the last 9 minutes of all 3 games we lost, we've been tied. And then Cameron's, you know, he's really playing restricted a little bit. So we've got to learn to play in the last 9 minutes where we, you know, without Ed O'Bannon, Tyus Edney, George Zedek, you've got to adjust. And those are the moments of the end of the game, crunch time, that we've got to concentrate on. The end of the game, and let's refer to the Kansas game. I know you don't like to look at this tape, but you have a 15-point lead, and then they come back and win by 15. You talk about being humbled. What did you tell the players after a game like this? Well, I was really encouraged, Chris. I thought we played very well the first half. We were ahead 19. And then we were our own worst enemy. People say, well, they went zone and they hurt you, and we hurt ourselves. We had 12 of the greatest shots that I want my team to take. And we turned the ball over 6 times, not against the zone. Now, you know when a team comes out and takes the ball away from you and makes you turn it over, but we turned it over ourselves. So we were our own worst enemy in that game, but I'm very encouraged off that. And we're building towards our season and our conference, and we get everybody healthy and get in the right frame, I think we're going to be fine. You've raised the issue about leadership on the floor with this team. Does that concern you? Does somebody have to step forward and be the Ed O'Bannon of this year? Well, yeah, but that takes time. Ed O'Bannon wasn't our leader until his senior year, and I'm hoping Charles and maybe Cameron step up, maybe even Toby Bailey and J.R. Henderson, guys who are potentially terrific leaders, somebody to step up and get a hold of us in the last 5 minutes of the game and really have some poise and do the things you need to do to win the game. We've been right there to do it, and with about 4 minutes ago, 5 minutes ago, 6 minutes ago in the Kansas game was right there, and we let it get away, but we didn't play very well in the second half. Some of the players had remarked that Ed was the leader, but almost like a parent, and that they're glad that they don't have to put up with his kind of discipline. Security blanket. You never got out of line. You never got out of line in the locker room, on the airport, in the hotel. Your focus was always there because he would not let you not be focused, and that's what they're talking about, and we don't have that right now, but we'll get that. Even on the floor, the trash talking, which is becoming more and more common today, the rap on some of the young players on your team is that they're doing too much yapping. Well, they were early. They're not now. We've all learned a lesson. Did you have to say, hey, you had to draw the line? Shut your mouth. Let your play do your talking.
And that's exactly what we've decided to do.
Are you upset that people might question you after this slow start? And you've been through the ringer on this before, but right after you win the NCAA championship, right away you're hearing the rumblings, Jim Harrick, can he coach, can he not coach? Are you official?
Chris, I haven't heard that, and I'm not going to listen. I never listened to it before, and I'm not going to listen to it now. And I made a vow years ago that nothing outside the framework of your tunnel vision of your team and coaching and recruiting is going to deter you from your job. You know, this is Los Angeles, and with that goes some territory, but I can't worry about anything like that.
Are you the same coach you were last year?
And the year before, and the year before that. Hopefully a little bit better because we get better every year, but no different than I was when I started at UCLA, only probably a little bit better, and you get better every year.
We'll continue with Jim Harrick, talk about the influence of John Wooden and some other general college basketball issues, and talk about the new book that Jim Harrick has out. We're up close with the head coach of the Bruins in Los Angeles. Don't go away.
Music Express, voted #1 by the National Limousine Association, has offices in Los Angeles and on the East Coast. Music Express can handle your corporate needs anywhere in the U.S. and worldwide. And guests of Up Close stay at the Beverly Prescott, L.A.'s premier boutique hotel. Call your travel agent to make reservations at the Beverly Prescott, a Kimpton hotel.
Overlooking a detail can ruin any good plan.
What are we going to do now?
Relax. I'm sure there's another gas station down the road.
Sometimes it's just an inconvenience. But when you're planning for your retirement, details become vital. Princeton Securities can help you prepare for a better tomorrow. By calling for your personal retirement planner, we can help you develop an individualized strategy so you can minimize disappointments in the future.
So, honey, what else haven't we planned for?
This Friday and Saturday from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. only, Nobody Beats the Wiz gives our customers a holiday gift you'll never forget. Take an extra items throughout our stores. Imagine all the savings. 10% off selected TVs, 10% off selected audio components, 10% off some very hot camcorders, 10% off exactly what you want for that special someone. This Friday and Saturday only, take an extra 10% off selected items throughout our stores. Nobody beats the Wiz.
Of the Bays as the Packers head south to tackle the Buccaneers. It's a clash of NFC Central Division rivals.
Just watch the damn game, for God's sake.
Later on SportsCenter, baseball's hot stove heats up. We'll let you know who's headed where. This Gold Nugget did something no one else has done this season, and we'll preview Sunday's key AFC matchup. For Kenny and Carl, I'm Susie. We'll see you at 6:30 Eastern.
Welcome back to the show. We're talking with Jim Harrick, head coach of the UCLA Bruins, coming off the national championship, and wrote a book, Embracing the Legend. Jim Harrick revives the UCLA mystique with a foreword by John Wooden. Why decide to do a book with all you have going on and all you have to do?
Well, I was contacted by a company who thought it would be a good idea, and I didn't want to write just well, in this game we did this, in this game we did that, and it's a combination of things, and really I'd like to tell the story that we at UCLA certainly, as the title says, embrace John Wooden and want him in our family and our program, and that's part of the book, and part of the book's about myself and how in 35 years my wife and I got married and got in a car that night and drove to Los Angeles, and a lot of things. And then certainly the key part is about our basketball season last year, winning a national championship.
How much has John Wooden influenced your life and your career at UCLA? Because many, and I ask this, many think that it's difficult, you can never step out of his shadow of what he has done, and yet you've always made it a positive for you.
A lot of people have said, you know, the UCLA basketball program will never be the same until, and John Wooden comes. Why does he come? And I want him there. That's been my biggest thrill in all of being at UCLA is he comes to our games and sits behind the bench, and he's a fan. And we call and we talk about recruits. We talk about the situation in games.
You talk to him once a week? week?
Oh, yes, and try to go out there if we can. My staff and I love to go, and he's so busy it's hard to hook up because he's speaking here and there. And
what has he told you this year so far?
Not much.
Have you asked him anything about it?
No, we haven't talked much about it this year. I was in Hawaii, and I've just been back a week and talked to him once, but we didn't talk about that. But
did you ever ask him about advice when you received the kind of criticism you did through the tough years?
And I just said that. Too much criticism will hurt your performance, Jim.
Is that all he told you?
Too much praise will hurt your performance.
It was that simple?
Keep an even keel. Okay, that was that simple. But he's a very simple guy. And when you talk to him and ask him a question, he'll answer it, and you'll say, why didn't I think of that? Because it'd be so sound, such great common sense. The wisest man I've ever known.
Do you talk X's and O's with him?
Oh, yes, all the time. Really? We went out and breakfast here on his birthday, the 14th of October, and we started talking, and we were just talking about everything, which we do, and then we started talking about the zone press. And I've got a napkin full on all sides, inside and out, of notes. I'm just sitting there taking notes, and he's just orchestrating. My staff is mesmerized. I'm taking notes, and I got just notes of things that we talked about, and you learn every time I'm around him, Chris. I learn something.
In your book, you also talk about Mike Krzyzewski, and here's a guy who said things are different after you win the championship. What do you mean by that to you?
Well, I think he means that you're a little calmer, which I feel I am, that you go about your business in a little more business-like affair. I just can't imagine him winning back-to-back championships and what it would have done to me if we'd come back and win it again this year, because the pace that you go is, and I can see what would happen to you, and he got injured and left it alone, and finally his wife had to come and say, hey, you're not the same guy, and he changed. But we've talked a lot, he and I, and we went to the Jim Valvano golf tournament down in Cary, North Carolina, in Raleigh, and Mickey, his wife, and Mike were there, and we spent some time with him, Sally and I. But Sally had talked to Mickey and Mike, and Mike even called Sally one day and said, hey, slow him down and pace yourself and do this.
Yeah, what did he offer you any advice about the year after the championship?
Balance your time out in effort and energy, and you know, and I don't do anything, Chris, during the season. I don't do any speaking, maybe once or twice to kids or to young people, but my focus is on our basketball team.
How did your life change after you won the championship?
Well, certainly you've got a lot of opportunities. You know, it was funny, through our team physician, Gerald Feinerman, his daughter produced Forrest Gump. My wife and I, Sally, got to go to the Academy Awards. That was the weekend before the Final Four. And then we won the Final Four, and I went to Atlanta to accept an award, the Naismith Award. I just happened to be in Atlanta, so I called Lynn DeLuca from CBS and Eddie Merrins at Bel Air Country Club, and they got me in the Masters the last day because I was just there, and we drove over. So I got to do that, and then top it off, and there were many appearances and speaking engagements, but to top it off, we went to the White House, and that was the single most glorious thing we did.
Do you get caught up in that a little bit?
I thought it had been very, very nice, but I go back and oftentimes catch myself and don't think you're somebody you're not. Remember what Coach Wooden told you, too much praise will hurt your coaching, and I thought too much praise hurt our first weekend performance in Hawaii, that our players felt that they were UCLA, we're going to win it again, we're ranked 3rd or 4th, this is easy, the teams will lay down, where they were just like savage dogs in a corner. They came out and just played the best games. I mean, teams played like it was mid-season form against us, and we got humbled.
You have to be tougher on the players this year?
Only because they're younger, and they haven't learned the lessons that Ed, Tyus, and George's team learned. They went through the same exact thing, and so did the McLean, Murray, Martin, Madkins thing. They went through their tough times. That team got beat in the first round, ended up going to the Final 8. Ed and them got beat in the first round, ended up winning the national championship. Lessons to be learned by young guys.
But Jim, could this team learn that in time for you to get back to the Final Four and another
championship? Maybe not this year, but there's certainly a possibility we return almost everybody except Kevin Dempsey. It could learn it by next year.
You're not doing a soft sell here that you don't think you're a Final Four team, are you?
I think we'll be a better team next year than we are this year. There's no doubt in my mind about that.
Talk about Ed O'Bannon. He's in the NBA now, just like Tyus, just like Jordan Zedick. So obviously you had talented players. How much do you talk to Ed?
I talked to Ed. I was back in New York for the conference. I was there a day and talked to him and talked to his dad all the time and talked to Charles all the time about him. And then I talked to Hank Ed and Tyus's dad. And then George calls because and they're around. They Tyus will be into town from time to time, but they keep in contact, as do McLean and Butler and Murray, and their guys around. Pooh Richards been in the office every day.
But Tyus, an immediate impact, outstanding shot there for Sacramento.
He's been an impact player for them, yes. The others haven't been impact yet. George got a great start, but has leveled out. But they're not impact. But Tyus has been an impact on that team.
George Zedick, are you a little bit surprised at the ability that he's shown at the NBA level? Some people have said some very impressive things who have matched up against him.
Great strength, can score inside and out. He blows people away with his work ethic. You've never seen a guy work as hard as George Zedick.
All right, we'll ask Jim Harrick about who he thinks is the team to beat in college basketball and the marquee players on the hardwood today in the NCAA. We're with Jim Harrick of UCLA up close. We'll be back in a moment.
Take scores. You do what you do best, trying to stop guys like me.
Between a relentless cop,
all I am is what I'm going after.
A ruthless thief.
I'm the worst trouble you ever had.
And his reckless partner.
Bank is worth the risk.
Obsession knows no limits.
You are going down.
Al Pacino, Robert De Niro, Val Kilmer. Heat. Rated R. Starts Friday, December 15th at a theater near you.
Walk into any Office Depot, and two things are obvious.
Taking care of business.
First, Office Depot has a great selection of holiday gifts. And second, nobody beats our guaranteed low prices. Like cordless phones, brand name computers, fax machines, pen sets, and hot new electronics. This holiday, put Office Depot on your gift list and save up to 60% off list prices.
Taking care of business for the holidays.
I admit it, watching Arkansas play makes me happier than the pig and you know what. Arkansas, will you make the Final Four? In them wacky uniforms with the pigs with horns. And did I hear you say you were playing a game today with the home crowd yelling, woo, pig suey? Hey, those pigs may be hogs, but they're kosher to me, capiche?
Monday on Up Close, James Worthy of the Lakers joins us after having his number retired. The game according to Big Game James. Up next, more with Jim Harrick, who actually recruited James Worthy. We'll get the UCLA head coach's thought on who college basketball's best player is today.
Our truck has broken down. We need help.
Better call Dad Collect.
Mike!
What, girl? I should dial 1-800-COLLECT? I'll save Dad lots of money on the car? And come Christmas, there'll be extra presents under the tree? Aw, thanks, girl.
1-800-COLLECT.
To apply for a Discover card, all you have to do is give us a ring at 1-800-DISCOVER. There's no annual fee. And with our cashback bonus award, the sooner you call, the sooner we can return the favor. It pays to Discover.
Hey, Remington, shave this.
The newest Remington Triple Foil. The only shaver with 3 micro screens now has a 50% greater cutting rate for a close, smooth shave. The Remington Triple Foil. If you can grow it, we can shave it.
Rule number 45, board checking. Rule number 25, to play the game, use a puck.
The Blues battle the Kings tomorrow at 10:30.
The NHL rules on ESPN 2.
Continental Airlines, now among the best in the business at getting you to your destination on time.
Winding down with UCLA head coach Jim Harrick, 7 straight seasons of 20 wins or more. You know, on Monday's show, we're going to have James Worthy on the program, and you were telling me in the break a great story about you recruited him, tried to bring him to UCLA before he went on to Carolina.
I was assistant at UCLA in 77, 79, went to Gastonia and was in a home visit with James and his parents, brought him out here on one of the greatest weekend visits. We took him to Mayor Bradley's office, and still mad at big game James because he didn't come. But
so in those days, you could take him out and lavish them a little bit more.
Well, you could drive them around more than 30 miles and take them to restaurants and things that you can't do now. But he's a terrific young person, had a great career, and I'm glad to see him in Los Angeles.
Things could have wound up differently. Recruiting still fun for you? Does it get a little tougher?
Recruiting's fun when you recruit quality people and families and things. It's enjoyable. It's very time-consuming, but it's very competitive. Maybe as competitive as any business venture, any business together, anything that you could ever think of. I can't think of anything more competitive than recruiting. Colleges do.
And the rules are still being bent in many places.
By only about 10 to 15% of the schools. Now let's take 300 Division I colleges. I would say maybe 10% are.
Cheat.
The rest of them aren't. Chris, I tell you, it's almost like teenage driving. So few give so many a bad name, because there are a lot of great things going on in college athletics today by great coaches, teaching student athletes the right way to be gentlemen, to contribute to society when they're through, to graduate from school, to be a social leader on campus and in the community, doing things by the NCAA rules and regulations. Oh, there's much more going on good than bad. You only read and hear about the bad.
I'm sure there's some bad that we don't catch. As a coach, what's tougher to do, win an NCAA championship or rebuild a program?
Well, I think it's tougher to win an NCAA championship. There's so much that goes into it, and there's certainly a lot of luck involved, and divine intervention, beating a Missouri along the way, Ed O'Bannon tearing his knee up and being in the same class with George Zedek and Tyus Edney, and going through adversity of getting beat by Tulsa in the first round and losing overtime to Michigan the year before that, and hard games, that's very difficult. The reason a lot of schools haven't won it because it's very hard.
How about best college player?
I have to group 5 guys together. I think Marcus Camby at Massachusetts is fabulous with Tim Duncan at Wake Forest.
Those 1-2 at this point?
Those 2 guys are 1-2, and really behind them, and I think he needs another year of college, is Allen Iverson. When he learns to just slow down just a little bit, I think he's going to be fabulous. The guy gave us 32 in the regionals is the kid from Connecticut, Ray Allen. Oh, is he really good? And Kerry Kittle's at Villanova. Those 5 guys are a little bit maybe above everybody else right now.
When you talk about the great teams, Kentucky, can you have too many good players where you can't play them all at once, and if you try to, you take away from some of the strengths of good players?
John Wooden told me you never have too many good players, and I wish I had a lineup like that, but I'm not a coach who can successfully coach and play 10, 11, and 12 guys in a game. I just have never done that, and it's not my style to do that. I'm a 7, 8 guy coach, and that's just the way I like to do it, and it's been successful for me. I'd like to have Kentucky's talent this year. They're pretty good.
Are they the team to? You know, we hear Kentucky, UMass, Kansas #1.
From my experience, we played Kentucky a year ago. We played Kansas this year. Kentucky is really talented, and their depth has talent. So I think they'll be there in the end. I really like Kansas. I think they're a terrific basketball team. That's why I'm encouraged that we had the kind of game we did against, especially in the first half. I think Connecticut certainly UMass, certainly Memphis State. Now, write that down and don't forget them. They are really loaded. I think have a great chance. Villanova's right there. Those are some teams. Arizona's come out of the ranks, and as a team unity and 5 guys playing together, they've impressed me as much as anybody. So it is really kind of wide open this year.
All right, and hopefully UCLA, for your sake, will be in there somewhere. Now, you got the Wooden Classic coming up on Saturday. You're going to face Maryland. Also, you have Villanova, Purdue. In that, just a quick thought on the way you, in the break, you described your young team as horses and
like wild horses out in the field. And every day I'm riding it. My staff and I are riding each one every day. And we hope by mid-December to get those horses broken and running like thoroughbreds.
All right, well, good luck the rest of the way with the UCLA Bruins, and good luck with the book, Embracing the Legend. Jim Harrick, always good to see you.
Chris, thank you very much for having me.
Thanks for coming on the program. James Worthy joins us here on Monday. I'm Chris Myers in Los Angeles. Have a good weekend. We'll see you later on. Take care.